Welcome to another class in the redox.com video lecture series. This class is on macular degeneration and how it represents an oxidative stress condition. So oxidative stress is where tissues in our body experience a breakdown due to a buildup of toxins that are a result of some imbalance. So our eye is a very sensitive organ in our body. And the eye has a tremendous blood supply in it. That is one good thing. The eye, however, does get exposed to ultraviolet light, UVB light. And that can, as you know, sunlight damages our skin. It oxidizes our skin and causes it to wrinkle. So our eye gets exposed too. And there's one special spot in our back, in the back of our retina in our eye, called the macula. And in this area is where we have a very concentrated collection of little cone cells that attach themselves through a little nerve to the brain. This is where we see. Our peripheral vision, there's less concentrated cone cells. So there's tiny little blood vessels that take nutrients and oxygen to these very specialized concentrated area called the macula. It's very sensitive in our eye. And so as we age, this part of the eye is vulnerable to oxidative stress. And so we call it age-related macular degeneration. It affects the elderly. Much of the time there are no symptoms. And unless you go get an eye exam, you wouldn't know that you're developing this condition because it takes a long time to lose enough percentage of those cells before you actually see the difference. It's different than having glaucoma and becoming blind, or having a cataract and not be able to see. This is more subtle and indolent, and it creeps up on you. And so when it's fully advanced, you're still not completely blind, but you can't read, you can't drive, you can't do many of the activities of daily living because you lack the central vision, okay? So we know that this condition, age-related macular degeneration, is much more common in people who smoke. What does tobacco smoke do? It's a toxin. It puts us at more risk for developing oxidative stress. That tobacco is taken through the circulation to the eye and it affects those delicate little cone cells. It advances with age, as does oxidation. So there's about 23 million people globally in 2010 who have macular degeneration. It's a prevalent problem. So treatment, most of the time, doctors will say, well, there's really no cure. And that's the truth. There's no stopping the rusting of our eye. We just want to try and slow it down. Or if we see the beginnings, we do some special things. So one of the things that eye doctors have done for many years now is recommend certain vitamins to help slow the aging process, the oxidation process of the eye. One of the most commonly prescribed vitamins is called Ocuvite. And there are injections that are like a needle right in your eyeball that stops this process and slows it down, but it doesn't correct it, okay? So we really have no cure. We just try to slow it down. We try and prevent blindness from occurring, and there's like laser treatments and various things that are done, but it's a pretty depressing situation, frankly. Okay, so what could we do for ourselves? What are the possibilities? So I ran across an old article in a journal called Free Radical Biology and Medicine. It's kind of a cool journal. And in 1998, they did a study on about 100 subjects. And they decided to measure blood levels of glutathione and other markers. But just to make it simple, what they noticed is that in people that had age-related macular degeneration, there were dramatically lower levels of glutathione. Dramatically, not a little, a lot. And glutathione was becoming oxidized much more dramatically. So it wasn't so much how much glutathione you had, it's how much glutathione was oxidized. In other words, beat up because it's working so hard. So oxidation of glutathione became much more of an important marker than the glutathione pool size in your systems. So this raises the question, What about glutathione? How do we make sure that that antioxidant and others that'll help our whole body stay healthy? So we need glutathione that is ready to work and work efficiently. Okay? So just to review, glutathione is made in our cells. You can't take it as a supplement. Doesn't work that way. We can eat certain foods and do certain things like exercise, all the healthy stuff. It causes a release, an upregulation of something called transcription factor. This transcription factor signals to the nucleus to manufacture glutathione. And so there it is in our cells to be used and to work with. To help glutathione be efficiently able to work, we've got to have a proper environment for it to work in. And so a very balanced redox potential is going to give glutathione what it needs to run efficiently. So picture glutathione as this little box, and it has two arms. On one arm, there's a toxin. This is a free radical. It could be some chemical, some bad guy. Most of these toxins have a positive charge. Glutathione's got to find some negatively charged particles to bring them together and neutralize that toxin. So these little molecules here are redox molecules. And they need to be present in an abundant manner and allow our all the parts of our cells to work well, especially glutathione. So this is something we can do for ourselves. Yep, take your Ocuvite. Do all these things that your doctor's recommending, but take charge of your health, and why not create a redox balance for yourself? The very best way to do that for our bodies is to use a redox supplement, and that the best way to help our eye health, because we have a tremendous blood supply, is to take that internally as opposed to use it topically. So an internal application of redox supplementation is going to increase our efficiency of glutathione. It's going to help upregulate the production, and so we'll have much better glutathione that is not oxidized. And that's our goal, to help not only with our eye health, but our overall health. So I hope that's not created too complicated of a picture, but these are some of the basics for what we can do to support our own health. It's been good to be with you. We'll see you at the next class.